I'm here in Maale Adumim, what Israelis consider a suburb of their capital, Jerusalem, but what the Palestinians consider an illegal settlement. It's places like this that might benefit from Prime Minister Netanyahu's very controversial decision to greenlight the building of 3,000 housing units in Jerusalem and the West Bank. The move clearly seems to be a punitive measure against the Palestinians for taking their enhanced statehood bid to the UN. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu called that Palestinian move a violation of signed agreements, a reference to the Oslo Accords and everything that has come after. And he said that Israel will continue to build in Jerusalem and the West Bank, which it has the right to do and which it will do in accordance with its security needs. Netanyahu and his cabinet unanimously passed a resolution that rejected the UN decision to upgrade the Palestinian delegation to that of an observer state. Dismissing the power of the UN to confer statehood on the Palestinians, Netanyahu listed 3 conditions for a future Palestinian state: a deal that ensures the security of Israeli citizens, recognition of Israel as the state of the Jewish people, and a declaration of the end to the conflict. None of these issues were tackled in Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas's one-sided UN bid, making it utterly unacceptable to Israeli officials. It's direct negotiations that Abbas needs to face, officials say, not forums of world opinion that can't bring peace on the ground.
What they need to do is they need to get the recognition of Israel and the agreement of Israel to form a Palestinian state which can be side by side with Israel. They're not any step closer to doing that since last Thursday. They're actually further away. So Abu Mazen, instead of looking towards the world community and the international forum, should really be looking closer to home, and he's not doing that. So 1 step forward internationally, 3 steps back locally.
Less than 24 hours after the UN vote in favor of Abbas's request, Israel responded. The approval of building tenders for 3,000 new housing units was announced in unspecified areas of Jerusalem and the West Bank. The Obama administration was reportedly shocked by the decision and quickly condemned it. Palestinian leaders were fuming, which Israeli officials surely expected.
Bringing this vote to the UN was not in coordination of Israel and doesn't help the peace process between Israel and the Palestinians in any way. And I think Israel and Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, want to send a very, very clear and strong message to the Palestinians that when you're going to violate the agreement, this is how we're going to respond.
Behind me is the most controversial part of Israel's building project in the map of the West Bank. This is called Section E1, and for the first time, planning and zoning were approved here. Now, if a Jewish neighborhood goes up here, it will literally cut through the West Bank. It will leave the Palestinian cities of Ramallah and Bethlehem cut off from Jerusalem, which of course is what the Palestinians want as part of their capital. And that will make a contiguous Palestinian state nearly impossible. That's exactly why, for almost 2 decades, these 4.6 square miles of land have not been developed. Steep international opposition kept the tractors and construction workers from building what was supposed to be 3,500 housing units on the hilltops across from Maale Adumim. But now anger over the UN bid has provoked Israel to pull out this old and potentially lethal political card.
Well, I think that the Netanyahu government picked something that would really, really hurt the Palestinians from the point of view of settlements, meaning it's one thing to build more settlements all over, whether it's what they consider Jerusalem or the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, but to hit E1 is something that's really going to be irreversible and is really going to affect the Palestinians and their future goals to have some type of contiguous state.
Allowing zoning and planning is a far cry from actually building, but Israel is still nonetheless flexing its muscle. Israel has also decided to confiscate 460 million shekels, or about $115 million, in tax revenues that it collected from the Palestinian Authority in November. Netanyahu and his finance minister, Yuval Steinitz, say they will take the money to offset the PA's debt to the National Electricity Company. But strict laws regulate the transfer of the Palestinian tax money, and experts say it's unlikely Netanyahu will be able to carry out this move. It's clear Israeli officials are trying to exact a price from Abbas for his rebellion at the UN, but it's unclear if they will succeed. One only has to look at the hero's welcome Abbas received in Ramallah to realize that for the first time in a very long time, Abbas seems immune to Israel's reproaches. Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.